Hi, welcome to my channel. My name is Hugo, and today we're going to see what's going to be the best stocks for this week. We're going to do a market analysis and we're going to see as well the performance of my portfolio. So stay around. Before we start the video, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Only 3.9% of my viewers are subscribers and I need your help to reach that 1000 subscribers. So smash that button. Let's get back to the video. So we're starting the week with EPD, Enterprise Products Partners. They have a dividend yield of 7.73%. They pay quarterly, January, April, July, and October. They are undervalued in 23%, 0.2. This is actually one of the stocks that I spoke on my previous videos, EPD. You can check for it. The ex-dividend date is going to be on April 28th, and the financial health is 2G. So they have around 1 billion more assets than liabilities. They are quite good in terms of financial health, and the market sentiment is a strong buy. I do remember that we saw on my previous video this stock comparing this EPD with energy transfer. This has more dividend yields than actually the energy transfer. So if you don't have any of those on your portfolio, this probably is a good choice to add to your portfolio. As you can see on the graph, we had a slight increase for EPD, although all the energy sector went a little bit down, around 2% since it was a market correction, but this is still a good stock to have. Kinder Morgan is also similar to EPD, so it's also on the oil and storage. They have natural gas and pipelines, etc. They also have a dividend yield of 6.44%. They pay in the same time as EPD, and they are undervalued only on 2.2%. This stock is actually around $16 per stock. If I preferably go for EDP than actually this one, because it's more undervalued, the EPD, than actually this one. So in terms of growth, you have more growth, expectation growth or future growth, more on EPD than actually this one. So, and the ex-dividend date is also on the 28th of April. The financial health is only 1G, so they have sightless 1 billion of difference between assets and liabilities. On the EPD, it's exactly the opposite, so they have more assets than liabilities, and here they have more liabilities than assets, around 1 billion, also the same difference. And we have a market sentiment of buy. This stock quite fluctuates along the time, as you can see on the graph, ups and downs. Now it's on a all-time high. I'll go for EPD than actually this one, but just because it's undervalued. In terms of earnings growth, Kinder Morgan had an increase of 38% from the past year, and EPD only 5%. So they had more growth than EPD, but the market cap of Kinder is quite smaller than actually EPD. So this is something that we need to have in consideration. Oh, Realty Income Corp, it's actually one of the stocks that everybody talks. It has a good dividend yield of 4.06%, but sometimes I don't include on my list because it doesn't reach the 5% that I always aiming to. They pay quarterly, February, May, August, and November. They are undervalued in 35.9%, which is quite good for this type of stock, and has an ex-dividend date on the April 28th. The financial health is 2Gs. They are quite good in terms of financial health. They are more assets than liabilities, around 5 billion of difference, and we have a market sentiment of hold. If you don't have any real estate or REITs, this is actually a good stock to have on your portfolio. Actually, I also have Main Street Capital, and I have other stocks that give me exactly the same thing as O. That's why I never went for O. But this is a good option because we have now at 35% of undervalued, and also we have a forecast of growth in terms of 18% for this year. The good thing about this stock is they always paid around 4% all the time, and it's quite reliable comparing to any other stock. Other stocks that I have on my portfolio for this week, and where the ex-dividend date is going to be this week, is going to be on the 27th Main Street Capital with an ex-dividend date of 5.75%. As you can see, this is much higher than O that I was talking about. AGNC Investment Corp, which has a dividend yield of 8.28%. And this is also a REIT, and which I've already spoke on my previous videos. And if you want to see more depth analysis on those stocks, which I already talked about, please go check those videos. So for this week, let's see what's going to happen on the markets. Surpass the resistance that we were thinking around the 4.2K. But went down, and let's see what's going to happen for this week. Let's now look into the graph. So this was the graph that we had last week. As you can see, I didn't I didn't went too far from what was estimated. Actually, went quite good. Of course, if we're going to reduce this for 1 hour, it's going to be completely different. Oops, sorry. This here, and we have the same tendency. Now let's see what's going to happen for this week, or in terms of expectation. Based on the MACD, what we have, we're going to have a tendency of bearish. So we're going to start to be falling, and this is going to shift. So we're going to have a shift, meaning that this tendency is going to start to go down towards the support. We're going to be around the 41. I don't think we're going to reach the 41 this week. I'm thinking that we're going to have the same tendency, so we're going to go up. Actually, we can see the exactly same that happened in the past. Let's go back here. So what we are repeating here was actually what happened here. So we had this tendency, we had a big growth, and then stayed stable, almost reaching the resistance. Here, exactly the same thing, and back here we had exactly the same example. So if we're going to increase this, we going to see the same tendency. So we're going to stay around the line of resistance, which is going to be this one, and then probably we're going to have another drop, or probably it's going to increase since we are in April. I think May is going to be a positive month, so probably we're going to repeat exactly the same thing that's happening here. Let's see the tendency for this week, if we're going to going around this line, or we're going to have a breakout and then reach the highest points ever. Again, we need to be prepared because this can fall on upcoming weeks. So in resume, if we're going to stay around this line, probably we're going to be okay for the next week, and then we may have a bull market until the next resistance. Otherwise, we're going to have a shift here. I don't know if this is going to cross. What's going to happen? We may reach the 4.1k for the next week. Let's see. We were quite close this week, but I'm thinking this is still a bearish tendency. So we had here a bull tendency which had a decrease, and now we're going to see a bearish tendency, and that's going to happen. This line is going to fall, and we're going to reach the support at 41k, around that line, and then we're going to go up in the next month in May. In terms of Bitcoin, we're going to have exactly the same thing. We have a tendency of going down, a bear market at the moment until the 42k, which is going to be the last supports, and then we hope that in May we're going to start to see some increases. I hope that the Bitcoin doesn't go down more than this support at 50k. Otherwise, we're going to see the next one, which is going to be at 42, 40, 45 maybe. In terms of news, Bitcoin was quite affected because the Emirates has blocked the BTC. It's forbidden for now. I don't know the legality of the thing, if that's going to actually to progress or not, but had a big impact, and we're going to see this going to fall a little bit more. So get some money and try to do some average regarding the BTC or any other crypto that you have on your portfolio, because they're going to fall and you need money to do some average on it. So if you want to copy all my trades, don't forget to go to eToro and search for my nickname, which is Kenite, and you can see also what's going to be copied with the spreadsheet that I'm going to show at the end, where you can simulate your trades and how much you're going to invest and how much you're going to win per month every single time. So stay until the end of the video so you can see that. Now let's check my portfolio performance. In terms of performance this week, my portfolio didn't have the greatest. We have an impact of 1.15%, which the US market had a growth of 0.1%. We had here several factors, not only because the crypto went down quite a lot, around 15% almost. ADA went down 10%, and Bitcoin around another 10%. And also we had the UK stock market that went down as well, which got a big impact on my portfolio, which bats, for example, one of the stock that had a big impact, around 8%, went down during this week. Since inception, we had a growth of 16.42%. We had a decrease of around 0.5% from last week. And the top 5 stocks for this week was AGNC with a 4.82%. This was because of the earnings that they reported and was quite good. That's why they had a big increase this week. Palantir Technologies, we had an increase on the past week of 6%. Then we had a decrease this week around minus 5%. And now at the end of the week, we got a 4.3%. This is actually one of the stocks that I'm pointing to take profits when it reached the 10%. And I want to allocate those values into Intel, for example, which had a decrease of 5% after the earnings report. Energy Transfer, which I already spoke today, had an increase as well of 4.7%, and ABEV with an increase of 3.22%, and Store with an increase of 2.82%. So we didn't have many increases this week, crazy increases, but we had a lot of decreases, and the UK stocks were one of them. The crypto was also one of them, and that's why my portfolio got impacted this week. In terms of payments, we didn't have any payment this week from eToro. We had new acquisitions, which was Intel. Bear in mind that Intel went down around minus 8%, so that's why I got in. I think it's a good opportunity to got Intel. Other open orders that I still have other. I want to have some average on Intel and also on REL M. Average this week was other AAGL for one simple reason. They went down around 11%. They had a big impact, and I think was a good time to do some average. I did open an order as well for bats, but it didn't reach the value that I wanted. And Realm as well, I've done some averaging. The top payers is still ET. The top dividend yields is still Realm with a 14%. And in terms of the portfolio performance, we had the increase of 35%. And the last time, the growth, we had a decrease from 28 to 25%. The stock with the highest volatility and the lowest volatility still continue to be PFG and Unilever. And now let's jump into the spreadsheets and see what type of simulations and what I have done during this week. Bear in mind that I update the spreadsheets every single time on the Friday nights after the market close. And here we're going to have the values and what I've done in terms of positions, what I opened, what got paid. Here you can see what was paid. Also what new average that I've done, the new acquisition of Intel, the averaging, which is in yellow. And here it's where you're going to simulate how much you're going to invest, and you can see how much you can win per month and per year. Bear in mind this is our values after tax, because I'm taking consideration the tax value over here. So in this case, US you pay 30%, and UK you don't pay anything, it's 0% of tax. You can sort from here the dividend yield. So in this case, I have here Realm with a 14%, AMZA with a 12%, AGNC with 8.2%. These are stocks that they pay monthly. I have here other stocks they pay monthly as well. You can see how much I have invested in each one of them in terms of percentage. Bear in mind that this is not quite clear as what you're going to copy. When you copy, some of the trades may not be copied because of the percentage or because it doesn't reach the $2. This depends on how much do we going to invest. If we invest with $500, which is the minimum, some of the stocks may not be copied. But if we invest with 1,000, for sure, all the copies is going to be done, because it's going to be more than $2 per share. And this is how much you're going to get in terms of the price in terms of stocks. So here, as you can see, you're going to have around $15, $10 for each stock in terms of percentage, of course, in terms of how much we're going to invest, and therefore the values that you get paid every single month. If you have some questions regarding the spreadsheet, don't hesitate and put comments there, and I'll reply as soon as possible. anything else if you want as well, you can put a comment and I'll try to reply. And once again, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, the like, and I hope to see you next week. Cheers.